Dead of Night by Simon Scarrow, published by Headline Review, and this is number 2 in the Horst Schenke Berlin wartime thriller series. It's 1941, so it's 2 years into the war, and it's a really, really freezing winter. So everybody's, huddled in fires, trying to keep warm. And of course, there are another a few years to go until the war actually ends. Horst Schenke is a policeman, and he's a very sort of thorough investigator, and he is investigating at the moment a whole load of forgeries that are going on, and that is what is preoccupying him. But he comes to hear about the death of a doctor, Dr. Schmesler, and he's asked to have a look at it because his widow feels that his death was not suicide, and it is very clear that everyone wants it to be suicide. So he goes and has a look at the scene and immediately understands that somebody came in and actually killed him, made a terrible mess of the room in which he was. And he is very aware that he is being closed down on his investigations. And finally, Hydra, who of course, was one of the top SS people, actually said, you are to stop investigating. This was suicide. That's the end of the matter. He then also discovers that a select number of children who are disabled both mentally and physically have been sent by their doctors to an institution in Potsdam. And it seems, their arrival is great, they settle in well, and then all of a sudden everything seems to go very much downhill. And they end up dead, and this really doesn't feel right. And one of the set of parents asks him to look at what is going on, because these otherwise reasonably healthy children seem to have just disappeared off the face of the earth, and the ashes are then summarily returned to the parents, and it doesn't feel right. So he decides he has to look at what is going on there. He has a girlfriend called Karin, and she's very supportive of him. But what I think the author does really well is to actually have his character try to negotiate the political scenery of the time. So he has his bosses, he has his moral compass. Karin doesn't always feel that what he does is quite right. He's not standing up for what is really, really right. But he then also goes on to show that, it's actually very difficult when you've got, the SS and all the authorities dictating what you should and shouldn't do, and to cleave your own route through this morass of terrible times is actually very difficult for individuals to do. But he has Horst Schenke doing a good enough job in as far as he can investigating. And of course, the threads of all these stories come together. He wrote a wonderful piece for us in our Talking Location With series, where he has been to modern day Berlin to actually look at what is left of the World War II era, the memorials and the totems of architecture that are transportive to that era and have been kept for very good reasons, to actually demonstrate that you cannot obliterate past. He goes to Tempelhof, which now is the Tempelhofer Feld, where people can go and exercise, fly their kites. And he describes, which I didn't know, that if you look at Tempelhof from the air, it looks like an eagle. So it was designed to look like an eagle, to be very impressive as Hitler's airport. So you get a real sense of the footsteps past of the city, which is always nice when you go to visit in modern days, to really understand what might have happened, in the years that have gone past. So I think if you are looking for a good read, and this can be read as a standalone, even though it's number 2 in the series, Dead of Night is an immersive and well laid out, well plotted storyline that kind of transports you to the era and to the time of World War II in Berlin, and how difficult it must have been for everybody. It just underlines that.